Some people have so much money they don't know what to do with it. They go out buying old 30-plus-year-old retro video games that are sealed, brand new, and encased in plastic and graded by some company called Wata. This game right here got a 9.4 A+. I don't know what the heck that means. But these people out here, man, spending some crazy money on some retro video games. $114,000 to be exact for this copy, breaking all sorts of records. Now, the one thing you got to understand, these are my opinions. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. My opinions have changed over the years concerning, material possessions and whatnot. And I find this stuff interesting, but at the same time, I don't really understand it. And that's okay. You may agree or disagree with my thoughts, and that's fine, as long as we're all civil about it, right? Now, this thing broke some records, right? $114,000, or at least that's what they say, but that includes a buyer's premium. That's not what the seller got, but it is what it went for because the buyer did have to pay that. But the seller got, I forget the math, I'm not so good at math, like $92,000, something around there, right? That's what the seller got out of this. So did it break a record? I don't know, because the previous one went for $100,150, $50. And Heritage Auctions, just like the auction we're looking at right now, they were involved with the previous world record one, but I don't see a listing for it, so I don't know how that one went about, if there was a buyer premium or not. But either way, the money doesn't, the amount of money. Like, did this one break a record? Did this one? Either way, it doesn't freaking matter. It's an expensive-ass game. Now, I look at this like video games are meant to be played. And if you collect, that's fine. I collect a little bit myself as well. I have a copy of Mario Bros. Right here in the box with the cardboard hang tab. There's so many variations of the packaging on these things. This is not sealed or anything, but if I was a Wata specialist grader, I would give this one like a 6.4. 6.4. I'm gonna list this bad boy up, make me like $80,000, right? Yeah, right. That ain't gonna happen. But I have that game because I love the game and I want to play it. It comes out of that box. It goes into the Nintendo, slides right in. Start playing it. Love it. I have a small Nintendo collection, NES cartridges, but like when you look at something like this, what's the significance? Super Mario Bros. Is a very historically significant game. There's no doubt about it, but to spend that kind of money is freaking nuts. My thought is anybody who's spending that kind of money, especially for something like this, Super Mario Bros. Do you know how many copies of that game are floating around? Super Mario Bros. Is on the list of the top best-selling games of all time at number 6 at 48,240,000 copies. PUBG is 5th place? Okay, whatever. But Super Mario Bros., man, there's 48 million copies lying around. Let's just say 2 million of them have been destroyed from people who think they're artists or something or want to put a Raspberry Pi in there. Whatever you do with it, it's your money. Who cares? But there's millions of these things lying around. This game is historically significant for sure, but to spend that kind of money, it makes me think that it's an investor. Because, myself, like, if I came across that game, I would sell it. Why would I want it? Like, why would I want something like that? All encased in plastic and it's sealed. Like, why would I want that? To just stare at it? I'm staring at it right now, and it's doing just as much for me, boner wise or whatever, hard nips, doesn't matter, tickling in the nips. It's doing as much for me as it would if I seen it in person. I've kind of talked about that before, but I could look at this copy too, or just pictures on the internet. There's nothing special, in my opinion, about looking at a physical object of a commercial product, right? That there's millions of them. There's millions of them. The interesting thing is the history behind the game, the people who were involved, the physical format of the game. That media right there is very important to play the game. But we've also been spoiled by tons of different options out there. Emulation, like not so legal, and then official ways. You could play Super Mario Bros. Tons of different ways, right? So the significance of if you want to play it, it's available to be played. So seeing stuff like this, going for this kind of money, I'm like, man, that is crazy, the amount of money that somebody would pay. So it makes me think that whoever bought this, the people involved, be it one person or multiple people, They did this as an investment. But that's like a scary thing too. You buy this for 114,000. What, your return on investment on that? Like what kind of money do you hope to make in the future? Do you hope to pass this on to, generation after generation in your family, thinking that one day this is going to be worth millions of dollars? Because if that is the train of thought, and I don't know if it is, but if that's the train of thought, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. That bubble will burst at some point. People won't care about the original copy of Super Mario Bros. At some point, it's bound to happen. It will happen that this could be whatever the person's plans are. If it's passed down generation to generation, it's going to get to a point where there's a generation that either doesn't understand the historical significance behind the game, or they don't care, they don't know what it's worth, or it's not worth anything anymore. Because who's to say what this thing is actually worth, right? The previous one that sold for 100,000 is supposedly more rare than this one that went for 114,000. Like, who puts the price on that? The buyer puts the price on it. You can't, like, can you realistically look at this and be like, this is worth $150,000, or 20 years in the future, this is going to be worth $250,000. You can't. It's all up to the buyer. It's up to what those hardcore collectors are willing to pay, or somebody who foresees that another hardcore collector would want to buy it from them and they could make a hefty profit. It's kind of a strange thing. I'm not really sure which direction this person's going, but to spend that kind of money on one thing, for me over the years, I know a lot of you guys out there collect. A lot of you guys out there have, different ideas of collecting. There are people who collect sealed copies of games, complete and box copies of games, subsets of genres of, whatever. There's all sorts of different ways of collecting. The one way that I've forced myself to collect, I don't even really consider myself a collector because I play my games, or at least I hope to play them all, right? But I don't have a ton of games, so I've narrowed it down to, like, if I buy a game, it's a game I want to play. If it's a retro game, it's a game that I really want to play. And if I don't play it after so long, and there's a reason, like, I think about it, I guess I didn't really care for this game as much as I thought. I sell it. I get rid of it. Why take up the space? The space is valuable to me. It could be used for something, something else, right? And I love video games. Don't get me wrong, but, I collect in that fashion. If you consider that collecting, like, I just buy the games that I want to play. So when I see stuff like this, it doesn't work for me, but it may work for others. That if you have that kind of stupid money and you want to buy one game that's $114,000, Super Mario Bros. might be a good one to go after. Like, when you look up the previous sales of what they've sold on here, there's some sealed ones. There's some complete in box ones. It looks like mostly a complete in box, but this other sealed one right here, this one went for 40,000, 8.0 A. It's a little less. So it was this was 9.4 and an A plus. So you lost 1.4 on the scale there, and you lost the plus mark. But it's a hang tab 3 code, right? And it went for $40,000. Like, my thing would be, I would rather have this one. Doesn't have the hang tab though. It says it has the hang tab. Maybe it has the cardboard one. You can't see it, but the other one has the plastic hang tab. It looked like, at least, like I said, there's so many variations of these things. But, like, if I was going to spend that kind of money, like, I would get the $40,000 one if it was an investment, right? And then relist this bish a couple years down the line, and after so many have sold, hoping that, hey, I can make over 100,000 on it. Who knows? There's some crazy price games on here, man. This market, whatever they're into, I don't think this is historically significant. Like, would this be cool to look at in a museum? For me, no. It would just be boring. I wouldn't pay to go into a museum to stare at a bunch of, box games. There's some people who collect, and they collect in what my opinion is, in the, a good way or the correct way. I don't know. I'm sure I could have some arguments about that, but they display all their stuff. They keep it nice and neat, and it's visually pleasing to them, at least, right? Other people, they collect, and it's hoarding. There's shit piled on top of each other behind boxes, and it just looks like a huge mess. Like maybe they walk into that room, get a little stiffy, and like yeah, like all happy with themselves. But you know, I guess it just really depends, man. I think if you're at that point and you're just stacking shit on top of stuff, and you're not actually taking care of the collection you have, are you really a collector or are you a hoarder, right? I would imagine a collector takes care of the objects that they own and displays them nicely, even if it's not for public view, you know what I mean? If it's just for them or if it's just for online bragging rights. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I would never spend this kind of money. If I had this game, would I open it? Hell no, you would not open a game like this knowing that people are paying this kind of money. You would post that shiz up. Heritage auctions. Hey, I need to get my copy of Mario Bros up there. Make that money, right? Go buy a $5 copy of Super Mario Bros. Or play it on the Nintendo Switch or the Raspberry Pi, right? Make that money. Nice down payment on a house, whatever the heck you want to do with it. Pay for, your kid's education. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thought this was an interesting thing. Appreciate you guys watching. With that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. Big ass thumb butt. And boom. Bye.